All right, everyone, welcome to a Wednesday pop-up lesson. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend just a few minutes going through the new course, which actually comes out on Friday. I'm excited to do the Simply Beautiful Jazz Chords, and we're pretty much there. We've done a lot of work to get to this point, and part of the reason for this pop-up lesson is because those of you who follow me on TikTok, it's been going crazy. The videos that I did regarding these voicings. And so, anyway, we finally hit 10,000 followers on TikTok. And then already in like one day, it's 10,100 or something like that. Anyway, let me go to the chat and say hello. And I hope you're doing well, everyone. Hopefully, this software here will kick in a second. Let me just double check, make sure we're good. Let me refresh that really quickly. I think I have the wrong window pulled up. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we're good now. Let me just refresh this. Okay, awesome. All right, Doug, good to see you. Doug is an elite member in the iMusicAcademy YouTube channel. Thank you, Doug. And Doug got his course yesterday, Blues Volume 4, I believe. We worked through that. So, Doug, thank you for supporting iMusicAcademy. And thank you to everyone watching this morning. So let's go ahead and go through a few of these. You guys are getting a sneak peek at the new course that comes out Friday. Really excited about that. And let's just dig into these chord blocks. What I love about this particular course is these voicings aren't necessarily complicated. A lot of them, like this block, I have these loops that I've created, and I like to break these down into like this is mostly a 2, 5, 1, 6 kind of chord progression, and we have different blocks. So you get to see what it's like to go all down the keyboard in these different variations of how you can use, in this case, a 2, 5, 1, 6 or 2, 5, 3, 6 chord progression. So what I want to do today for this short lesson is just to talk about chord formulas. So in the course, you be able to go up here and like block 3, like block 1. So block 1, when you look at this right here, even if you don't read music, you can get the concept. But let's go through block 1 today and really dig into that. When we say Simply Beautiful Jazz Voicings, again, this whole course is based on a loop that I did, and we break it down into sections. I think if you really isolate your practice time, you can get a lot done. So this idea of a minor chord, D minor triad with a major is the very first chord. And notice that I have a D minor 11 here. Now, how beautiful is that? Just a D minor triad with a major triad down a whole step. And you guys know that that's right there. That's a really nice thing, right? A really beautiful sound, just like it is. We also know that there's some really neat inversions you can do of those two chords that really sound amazing together. And let me say hello in the chat really quickly. What's up? Good to see you, Vance. Number 2. I like how they have the number 1, the number 2 thing. So Doug says you've completed volume 2. Now you're on volume 3. You have 1 and 2 from memory. Awesome. All right. Hey, Doug, I'm glad that you're getting a lot done. Good to see you. Vance, awesome to see you as well. Vance is a member of the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so you have this D minor, and everybody got it in the chat. I want this to be a really interactive kind of, I want you guys to be active in the chat as you always are. This is just a Wednesday pop-up I wanted to do for our community. But how nice is that D minor to C major? And notice how I'm not even going on to the next one yet, because I want you to notice what's happening here is that you take a D minor, like whatever your minor triad is, and you think a whole step lower. And you guys have heard this kind of thing before, this kind of sound, very simple. And I like sliding the black, anytime I can slide a black key to the white key, I think it sounds really nice. I think my pedal's working. I love that sound right there. All right, that gives us a D minor 11. Now, one of the things I want you guys to know is your chord formulas. So chord formulas will simply left to right, just like the way we read. You think of any key, and you could say, and so go ahead and Doug and Vance just yell out a particular key, and let's actually practice together, going through a D minor 11, how you might want to do this in different keys. And so so even though it's a D minor with a C major, I'm still thinking root, minor third, 5, and then I always put a comma. I've always done this. I do this for major scales, for other things as well, is I create patterns, and by putting a comma, in this case we're doing left hand, right hand. So root, minor third, 5. That's just the triad. And then you have flat 7 of the D major scale, the 9 and the 11. So you start to, even writing something out yourself, or looking at this right here, you say root, minor third, 5. Okay, D minor triad, and I go flat 7, 9, 11, and you start to get that, just like it's easy to say root, flat 3, 5, or that's the way I would say it, 1, flat 3, 5, and I go flat 7, 9, 11, and you start to get in that in your brain, flat 7, 9, 11, and then you put it all together, and even practice going root, minor third, 5, flat 7, 9, 11. So now Vance says let's go to F. So just remember, it's a minor triad at first, and then a major a whole step below. So I have root, and I'm taking my time here, going root, minor third, 5, flat 7, 9, and 11 of the F scale, right? And what I love to do is sit on a voicing, right? I'm just doing that. And let's get a couple more keys. And maybe I'll practice going back and forth between those two. Now, this is an interesting thing that Vance, and I don't know if he did this by design, but going up in minor thirds is a really cool sound. In fact, if you're playing... That's right. Even if you're playing like smooth jazz or R&B, you hear this sound all the time and in jazz as well. But this idea of like D minor up a minor third, and you could, if you had a beat going, you could do the whole thing of just those two chords right there. And what Vance is saying is so true. Like different chords, different keys are going to give you different sounds. The way it feels is going to sound, or it's going to sound totally different because it's in different areas of the piano. This is a really nice kind of middle of the road. It's kind of in the middle there, so you get a little bit of the highs and you get a little bit of the lows as well. And you go to D minor, and I'm thinking kind of a low sound, but how nice is that? Okay, so let's do about 3 more keys, and then we'll go on to the next chord. But still, I'm thinking, yes, D minor with C major, but I'm also thinking root, minor third, 5, flat 7, 9, 11, and I get that in my brain so that as I transpose, I can do what Vance said. Vance said do F, and how nice is that right there? F minor 11, and you're getting these shapes under your fingers, right? I'll wait for you guys to do a couple more keys, and then we'll go on to the next chord. And I could even go up if I hear and I go, all right, what's the 4 away from, the minor third away from F, and it's A flat. So then there's my minor triad for A flat minor, and then I go down a whole step, and there's my major triad. So an A flat minor with a G flat major. And again, I'm still doing, all right, so yeah, so I just beat you to it, right? Yeah, A flat. So A flat minor, you need an A flat minor 11. So from the scale of A flat, we start to notice things like, okay, F major has 4 flats, and that's used, A flat's a great gospel kind of key as well. I mean, there's so many good keys, but when you use A flat, you get into that D flat sound, and we all love the key of D flat and what you can do with that, but having that A flat, so it just has some really nice sounds when you do that. But let's stay with the simple voicings. Is you have A flat minor with a G flat major, and that's an A flat minor 11. And remember, you have root, minor third 5, and we go flat 7, 9, 11. And you have your chord formulas right there as well. Root, flat third 5, root, flat third 5, and then I go, all right, flat 7, 9, 11. And you can break those up. All right, so then Vance already said A flat. Well, let's go up a minor third from that. So B minor triad, and what do? Go down a whole step from B and play an A triad. And for those of you who might be strolling in and just watching the YouTube, I usually don't even mention that I have a TikTok channel as well, but it is kind of going crazy, and I love the fact of the different platforms, because every platform has different audience and different people looking for different things. And so I definitely have a lot of gospel players and a lot of jazz players who've been following me lately, and so I do a lot of different kinds of content there as well. I mean, it's the same content, but it's laid out in a different way. And so so if you do subscribe on TikTok, make sure that you let me know in a comment that you follow me from YouTube. I would be curious to know how many people make their way over there after me mentioning that. So Vance says C. So we have C minor, and I go down a whole step from C minor and play a major. So now there it is right there. So in addition to knowing this chord formula of root, flat third 5, and I go flat 7, 9, 11. In addition to that, I am getting into my brain, C minor goes with a B flat major. And even that's nice, right? I did C minor, and I know that anything I do, B flat major is going to work. Doesn't matter the inversion, all those notes are going to sound amazing. And I can even go C minor here in root position with a B flat. I mean, that sounds kind of nice right there. And then if I want to, I could put a C minor in there. And I could go C minor, B flat. I just put a G minor in there, which is, you could also do that, but that sounds, now that we found love. I'll probably get a copyright strike. All right, C minor, B flat major, C minor. And then you can arpeggiate it as well, and then I can go to C minor if I want to as well. All of those inversions will work. Okay, let's go on, but you guys get the idea. I want you to really spend some time thinking about that, and notice how, like, I love going like to D minor triad with your C major in second inversion. I put the 9th in that time. I went minor there. Just messing around with different inversions of that. That sounds beautiful the way it is right there. Or this. So I can go C major or D minor. That would. All right, now let's go to the second chord in this course. So notice we go to a G13. Okay, so G13, another really, really awesome chord for you to spend a little time getting that under your fingers. Now, the first thing I want you to notice as we learn this, it's it's root, flat 7, 3, 13, and 9. That sounds great. And notice that I have the comma, root, flat 7. How do you find the flat 7 of any chord? You go octave down to flat 7, 3, 13, and 9. I could go up, I can go down, but notice that my hand shape doesn't change at all. Now, in my left hand, sometimes I do root, fifth and root. Sometimes I'll use 4 on the black keys on the bottom, but you guys get the idea, right? So we have this. Once again, if I have a black key, I love to slide to a white key. I love to arpeggiate the right hand, and I can mess around with different sounds there. And just a little fun fact, if I like go up here and now I'm on A flat. Like, you can do so many things with what we call the interval of a fourth, right? B up to E up to A is the interval of a fourth. And what I love for you guys to be able to do is to go and take this shape. Notice that as I go up and down the keyboard, it's staying in this particular shape right here. So as we get into some really cool jazz voicings and things like that, I want everybody to make sure you have your right hand, your fourth voicings, and even if you put that with a seventh, in other words, a root and a flat seven, it sounds amazing, right? And I have two shapes that are going to sound great as I go up and down, and I can always take a shape like that and go up and down the keyboard and get used to that. Now, just for fun, let's change the bass note and see what happens if we did that. So here I am at A flat. What if I go to B flat? What about C? If I play it right? So I'm listening to different sounds. What about G flat? What about F? What about E flat? D flat. Now, and that should blow all of our minds, because it does mine, and it always does. The idea of how simply beautiful that is. I have the fourth voicing in my right hand, C, F, and B flat, which again, I can go up and down by half steps, right? And I go D flat. Listen to how beautiful that is. Just D flat and A flat with this fourth voicing here is A flat, B flat, and C. Right? I can go. So I go here. Yeah. And it's a good thing to do. This is not a tangent, but important to know that when I say sitting on a voicing, that's exactly what I mean. You guys are starting to understand it. The very first one we did was D minor and D minor 11, which we can play in lots of different inversions and different sounds we get. But then I go to G13, and that is its own shape. I can go up. What we were just doing was going up from G to A flat. I mean, you could do it on G as well, but this idea, we're saying, all right, let's see what it sounds like to have this interval of a fourth, which is so important when we're learning our jazz, all these jazz voicings and things we do, from trio blues and everything. You can use fourth voicings and hardly even change the right hand. So by learning these, learning some really amazing things by just knowing one or two shapes. Now, this idea of this fourth voicing, we said, how does it sound over A flat? Sounds pretty good to me. What about B flat again? What about C? What about D flat? And one thing that I love to do is to take my left hand and create little patterns where I'm going like 3, 2. I mean, it can be any pattern. I'm just picking that one. All right, so first of all, Queen Vic, good to see you as always. Jeffrey, the most consistent man at iMusicAcademy, good to see you as well. Always awesome supporters. Okay, so isn't that an interesting thing of how we have this D flat, this fourth voicing here, and how like each little sound you do, even by changing the bass note, it's going to inspire you for different sounds. I'm doing is just 3 notes up and down, right? So I go. Kind of like all of those. I kind of like that. I went to B flat. now. I added one note in there, but isn't that kind of cool that we did that? We going. All right, here we go. Let's keep going on. So going back to that whole, which I guess it could be a tangent what we just did, but really the concept is sitting on a voicing. Like you just take one idea. That's why I wasn't in a hurry to get away from that. And then now we're at the G13, and I like for you guys to say, all right, root, flat 7, 3, 13, 9. And that's a fourth voicing. That's why I was going there to show you. Once you get this kind of sound right here, if I'm playing a blues, any kind of blues, you can have that voicing going right there. Let's go to the C7. I'll just change it a little. How easy is that? I can walk it down. Okay, so here we go. That's right, very beautiful and very rich. And I like for you guys to just sit on those, go up and down by half steps, whole steps, whatever you want to do. But you're getting this shape into your playing. You're also thinking root, flat 7, 3, 13, 9. Now, what's really nice about these voicings, and this is another chance to get your mind blown. Okay, so everybody watching, I want you guys to notice something really quickly. If I'm here and I get that G13, again, I know I can arpeggiate it, I can go up and down. What happens if I go to major 7 in my left hand? Instead of going down a whole step, if I go down a half step, you have this. Listen to the difference. Bluesy with the flat 7, major 7. So there I was going, just the difference between major 7, ba da da, or da 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 bam bam. Right, that sounds so nice to do that. So major, ba da 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 da, ba. Do it again. So major, and I'm going to go down. Ba, ba, da, 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 ba. All right, so we were doing G13. G13 with the flat 7. But I said you just changed one note. Boom. And there now you're at a G major 9 with the 13, of course. And if I go from here, ba, down dominant, so I changed it then from a major to a dominant, and now I went flat, right? The flat 9, and I went ba da da ba da da. Okay, so let's keep going down. So we have a root, flat 7, 3, 13, 9. And what's so beautiful about that is you have your 13, you have your major 13 with the 9. I can also flat that flat 9, which we love in the jazz gospel world, the idea of the flat 9. What a cool sound that is. When I think about Oscar Peterson, when I first started learning about music, I was learning about Oscar Peterson and listening to all the sounds when he would go, you know, he'd do all those things, but it doesn't matter the octave or whatever he would do and do all those fast runs. A lot of times he's doing those, the idea of like a G13, and he might go, and all that is an E triad over a G bass, and that gives you a flat 9. And if I can get an amen on that. Right, so you put an E chord over a G bass, and you get your flat 9 right there. Right, very simple. And even there, when I went major, and I went here, regular 9 to a flat 9. All right, got an amen from Vance. Very good. Okay, now let's continue to go. Speaking of an amen for that, if I went I am thine, O Lord, I have heard you, ba-da-dum, da-dum. And all I was doing right there was just like a pedal, but how beautiful is that? Those simple voicings there. Okay, let's keep rolling with the next chord and thing. All right, so Vance says it's easier for him to grasp E over G. Absolutely, that's what I want you to grasp over that. Now, even though Vance, E over G, I love that we think in terms of those ways, and that's the way I'm saying G. All right, yes, it has an E triad. Well, from G, go down 3 half steps, and now you have that thing. Yeah, copyright ding. Hey, draw me near, or I am thine, O Lord, should be copyright free. And I didn't get all the lyrics right anyway. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, we'll see, right? It'll say, you've been a copyright strike for I am thine, O Lord. You owe 1,000 churches in your local area X amount. Okay, so the next part was that Vance is saying that it's easier to think G over E. Yes, it is, but for transposing, I want you to think root, flat 7, 3, 13, 9, so that you could go to any key and think root, flat 7, 3, 13, 9, or major. Okay, here we go. Let's go to we only have 2 more to go, and then we'll be done with block 1. I hope you guys are excited about the course coming out, as I am, on Friday. Okay, we have this E minor 7. Now, this is an easy one. I'm going to let Vance think G triad over an E bass on this one. Right? So E minor 7, and on purpose, you have the root, you have the flat 7, 3, and 5. And what you're going to start to notice, of course, is just a root. And with a G triad, and once again, you have flat 7, root, and your flat 7, 3, and 5. You start to repeat that over and over. Flat 7, 3, 5. Flat 7, 3, 5. So when we're doing, okay, that's an E minor 7. If I'm in the key of F and I go, all right, there's root. Okay, flat 7, minor 3rd, 5, and I get that down. But I'm also doing what Vance says, and I'm making sure that I know that, yes, that's an F with an A flat triad. Really important. So from here on out, if you're thinking of an E minor right here, and you have this simple thing right here of a G triad, I know that if I want a nice E minor voicing, E minor 7 voicing, it's an E with a G triad. So Vance is correct in that sort of thinking that way. Now, in the same way, Vance, we can also say, we know that a G triad is going to work in any inversion, but also if I put a D triad over an E bass, what do I get there? I get the 9, I get the 11. So once again, going back to our first rule, when we said D minor with a C major. Same thing right here. E minor with a D major. Yeah, I would agree with you. Chords are not copyrightable, but this is. All right. Anyway, all right. So is everybody good that like this in its simplicity? Like you start to put the loop together, and you go, all right, here's where we were. Right? Let me do it again. And what I'm doing is 2, 5, 3. And getting used to that. All right, E bass note, and I go, okay, G triad. George Harrison found that out the hard way. Yes. Hey, on a side note, can you guys believe about that band, the AI band that has like probably over 500,000 followers after like 2 weeks, and they don't even really exist? The Velvet Sundown. I bet Jeffrey knows about the Velvet Sundown. All right, I'm a fan. I followed them. I haven't listened to the music, but I followed them. All right, watch this. Let me do it again. Here we go. Right? And this is, again, this whole course is built on this 2-5-3-6 loop. And it takes you through all these different chords and positions and ways to voice things. And it doesn't have to be complicated. This is not complicated. 2 triads together to this, which is E with a G triad. And then when we're ready, we're going to go to the last one of this lesson. And I like for you guys to sit there. And sometimes, so I have the loop written out in 2 different ways. One is with just whole notes or half notes where we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then it keeps going, which I'll show you the next chord in just a minute. But also, I like to put a little rhythm with it sometimes. Okay, and we're about to get to the other chord. Another thing I like to do, slide in black keys to the white keys, but I also, I go here, or you can go right here. I like to roll up to that E. You guys hear me do that all the time. If whatever chord, you can do some really nice things by doing that. Jeffrey's gonna check them out. Rolling up to there. When you hear me do things like this, where I go. Watch my left hand. I think AI band followers are more. You could have a point there, but you know what? A lot of the people who are actual real people who are following are just like everyone else that follows whatever the latest thing is. Like, I don't know how this happens, but like I told you guys on TikTok, I was at 10,000 followers, and then it went down to 9,060 or whatever, and it's stuck there forever. I posted a video based on these chord progressions that I've been doing for the new course, and all of a sudden, 300 people followed me since 2 days ago. So now I'm at least think I'm comfortably over 10,000 and not going 10,000, 9,000, 10,000. So just to show you how crazy it is, well, what I'm saying on that is sometimes people just like social media pushes it out and says, hey, you should follow this person. And I do the same thing. I follow people, all these musicians that I like to hear and hang out with. Have a lot of friends on TikTok through music. But let me show you, let me just look just for fun. I was telling you guys how crazy it's been. So yeah, like in the last few minutes, 10 people have followed, which is crazy. I know, it's getting Jeffrey's got the bots. All right, let's end on the last chord, which is probably my favorite of this chord set, is this. Root, flat 7, we're on the A chord, 3, 13, and flat 9. Okay, so we're doing a dominant chord with a flat 9 on purpose, and we have our root, flat 7, our third, our 13, and our flat 9. Yes, we could go just like with the G. We were here, but on purpose, this has the flat 9 because it's all about voice leading. When you do this, now, and all that is an A7 chord, right? Root and a flat 7 with our 13 voicing that we just talked about. But instead of putting a, watch me do this on G, instead of our 3, 13, 9, I'm doing the flat 9. And I could arpeggiate that if I wanted to, but I'm really thinking about the voice leading. Isn't it nice, just the idea of rolling up, how much better it sounds than this? If I go, it sounds like it has direction, like it's very intentional. I go. And then it's all about melody. I think when I think about my playing and my composing and improvising for fun, I think melody all the time. I cannot play something and not think of melody. I think of ba da 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 da, right? It's all about melody, and that should inspire everybody out there that we don't have to play a bunch of crazy runs and crazy things to sound, not only to sound good, but to sound like we want to sound, right? It's all about voice leading and songs. That's why melodies, I really want to play you a bunch of copyrighted melodies right now, of just to show you how, I'll give you an example of one, and hopefully this will be, I could say this is not copyrighted material, but I'll probably get 1 million copyrights just from playing a C major arpeggio, but let's just go ahead and do it anyway. Let's risk it. Let's do a jazz thing. So for that, I could go, if I go up there, if I went up to the C, I'll be doing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. So let's not do that. But if I did I Can't Get Started, I'll play it slow so they won't catch it. Right? But what a great, not only ear training, it's melodies, the reason that all of this is good. That's like why you play Joy to the World. It's a scale, but it's all based on melodies and everything. If I play the State Farm, thing, I could go, and it goes. Now that's copyright. I just broke the rules there. I'll have to take this video down. But even the State Farm is a great ear training. It goes up a major 7, and then it goes up to the root, and then it goes up to the 4. 4, 3, 2, 3. Just a little FYI. You want to get your State Farm ear training in? Just try that. All right, so let's see. Seems like your single note fill between chords is on the right hand pinky. Yes. Vance says that's copyright. Yep, I did kind of play it, but I tried to disguise it a little bit. We'll see what happens. That would be sad if I had to share royalties with State Farm, unless they want to sponsor me. All right, going back to this, we're going to end on this idea of, let's put the loop together. Here we go. Again. Vance is he's the copyright police now. George! George. Everybody say hey to George. George, I'm so glad that you said hello. George is one of the most faithful guys at iMusicAcademy. He's a member of Chord Academy, but like every single course I've ever come out with, George has been there. All right, so I hope you guys are enjoying this idea of chord formulas and how nice it is, right? You want to sound good? You don't need a bunch of crazy fancy notes. If I put a D chord and I do the 3 and the flat 7 and I put a B flat triad with it, I mean, I sound like I know what I'm doing, right? So, and Vance said about the note fill between the right chords. Yes, on purpose, I was doing that. Like I like to do, my fill might be this. For this loop, it's the top note. For sure. And sometimes I but sometimes I go 3, 4, 5. Copyright. Yeah, I probably have like 15 copyright strikes. Okay. Isn't that nice though what we did? And what I was saying, Vance, on that is this idea. Like anytime we can roll up to or go 3, 4, 5 or something. Sometimes I do 4, 5. And so it depends on what note I'm doing. Just then I went, and that is our 9th up to the 11th of C minor. Or 9th up to the 11th. Right there, I did the 7 up to the 9. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Awesome. Yeah, isn't that really amazing that we can do that, right? That going up, if I go, I'll do it in C. So right there, that's gold right there. Or I'm just kidding. Okay. Use those ideas. All right, let's do a review. Since Anthony, I don't know how long Anthony's been around and George, but let's just play the loop again and just encourage you guys as we wrap up. Put your D minor with your C major. Still want you to think in terms of chord formulas. One thing I love about this book, and I've started doing things a lot, every book that comes out or course that comes out, we're upgrading the way we do things. From a visual standpoint, I'm starting to do chord diagrams, which I think are really important. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So chord diagrams. I have a lot of people that are ear players. They read a little bit, but they just haven't got their reading down, which I love to teach people how to read. And if somebody's out there and maybe you're an ear player, but you really struggle with reading, I can help you point you in the right direction. So I think I'm going to start doing some of those in our I can do a few videos in our YouTube channel and our membership area, but also for our academies. I think we should do some fast track to reading, because don't give up on reading. If you can read, you can do anything. And also, I think the ear is really important too. I want to encourage you guys, of course, we want to transpose things, and that's why we have these things like what I call chord formulas. So you can really you can really spend time in your chord diagrams of saying, all right, root, flat 3, 5. Okay, root, flat 3, 5. So for any minor triad, and then you say, all right, I'm going to do a whole step down, and then I go C major triad. But my chord formula left to right is root, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 9, and 11. And I go here, boom. Okay, so I've got that. Not only do I have this as a D with a C triad, so I could play in any key and think of, all right, minor triad with a major third. That's great. But I also say that I want you to learn every single major scale for my players who are really loving learning about music and going for it. I want you to make sure you know your major scales. I really want everybody to learn your major scale. And the reason is because if I'm in A major, I can use these chord diagrams. I know F major has 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, but I can go, all right, root, minor third of A major, and the 5, that's my triad, right? And I go, okay, I know it's going to go down a whole step, but I'm going to go flat 7, 9, and 11, and that gets me this A minor 11 voicing. And so even by learning our major scales, you're going to really start getting that. But going back to the chords and the chord formulas is I want people who don't read as well to be able to visualize these and go, you know what, today, you can even print these out and be like, all right, there's this, there's the G13, here's that chord formula. And then, so that's why I write things out like this to show you the chord formulas and also show you this. Now, I am releasing this on Friday. I'm going to do this. So I trust all of you guys who are you're either in the YouTube channel. We have a few of our Academy members, but what would be a good launch price for people this Friday? I'm thinking, like, let me just tell you what it is, and we're wrapping up this lesson. You guys have been awesome, but like, what would be a good thing that would like really excite people, bless people, and get this new chorus into their fingers? So it's a video chorus with sheet music, just like you're looking at. This is part of the chorus right here, these chord diagrams, but it's based on, and then there are 2 loops that come with it, and the chord voicings and everything, just like all my other courses. What would be like an awesome price to do the course for July 4th, and just to kind of celebrate one of our new courses? And of course, if you're an Academy member, like you're an all access, you don't even pay for anything. So feel free to be real and say, I think this would be a good launch price. And again, I want to get this into a lot of people's hands, fingers, and ear and everything. So just 400. No, we're not doing 400. $399. Man, so we wouldn't do that. Give me a real price. And while we're doing that, and maybe you guys don't have an idea. I kind of have some ideas, but I always love to get feedback from you guys. What I want you guys to do, Anthony and Vance and Jeffrey and everybody, is, I mean, you don't ever have to get any of my courses. Nobody ever has to get anything from me. But I want you to make sure you're getting these chord voicings down. You have D minor, G13, E, and you have these chord formulas. It's really important. Doug says $19.95. 29. Anthony says $29.95. I mean, there's no doubt that at either one of those price points, there are going to be people that invest in the course. But I hope that a lot of people will invest. So I want a good price that would be beneficial for everybody. So they're like, because everybody's going to get enough things, and you're probably already getting things that say, hey, buy this, buy that. No, yeah. I'm not doing 39. Although we would sell a few. I don't want to do that. But I like the way you think. Vance says, I want to get this. So $4. That's funny. Y'all are funny. Okay, let's recap. And I seriously, for not the $400 and not the super high prices, but I'm actually thinking about doing a launch I might even do it tonight where I say they can pre-order for even less. I don't even know. I think that would be kind of cool. I hardly ever do. Oh, that's a great question. So, Anthony, on this, it all depends on when you say advanced players. I think that this course, with the Simply Beautiful jazz voicings, it's kind of the teaching that I'm doing today. It's geared for people who want to take this, which is beautiful just like it is, and also learn different ways to play this on the piano to where you're playing some really beautiful jazz voicings based on these loops that I've done. So this one is actually a pretty simple type course in that it's 4 different blocks, and it's 4 different ways to play these go down. It's not hours and hours of videos, and I have courses like that, but what people need is they need some structure, and I say this for everybody. You need structure, and you need so we have these 2 loops, and then I'm showing you guys how to basically play these things in any key. So it's a solo piano course, and that's a great question. Is it for advanced? It all depends on, in my opinion, these voicings like this is advanced, but it's an approach where it's accessible for people who are not as advanced, if that makes sense. And this idea, so it's all about voice leading and getting up and down the piano. And Doug says probably 10 exercises with video. Yeah, this one's a little bit, it's kind of like my other courses that are 16 licks and 20. I've had 10 bass lines, 10 licks, and all the blues volumes that we've done. But this one's a little bit different in that it's a lot about chords and about being able to play these in multiple keys. I love the chord diagrams that we're doing as well. That's really helpful. But anyway, so in terms of, it's not hours and hours. Nobody wants that. What I've learned, Anthony, they want focus. Am I right, Doug and Vance? And Vance, this is just for you to know. I'm going to start doing where I give my subscribers a deal who are not like a special price. Yes, you're correct. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I love to hear. A lot of feedback from you guys about the lessons we've been doing lately, and so I love that. Yeah, I want this to be like getting this down. Yeah, they need to understand chords and scales. That's part of what the course is about, Anthony. They do need to understand the chords and scales. They need to be able to play them. Yes. Well, not already. There's a section on scales too. So yeah, it's a process, of course. So even when I'm playing like for myself, and I'm showing you like chord voicings that are in the course, but it's still pro material, right? That you're doing. Not every voicing has 10 notes in it, right? Yeah, that's the goal. And that's why this course is based on 253 or 2516. It's based on a loop, and I want you to be able to play the loop and use the chords and the chord formulas to kind of level up your playing. So that's the goal. All right, so what I was saying is, for my YouTube members, those of you who we still have 10 members at our YouTube channel, and people are at different levels. If you're a level 1, you're the musician level, you get 1 PDF a week. Sometimes you get a little more, sometimes you get a course and things like that. But also, the second tier is like the whatever the one is above that. Somebody can remind me what that is. But then there's the elite tier. And what I've been doing is, like, Doug is an elite member, and so whenever I go live any of my PDFs get sent to that person for the live sessions that I do. And then, of course, our all access group. I know it might be confusing for some of you guys, but I do have an all access where people get the courses, they get everything I do. And so there's this, like, I pay you one lesson worth a month. And like Vicky's been a member forever, and we have some really amazing people, and they show up for everything. So, and then we have Chord Academy. So anyway. This is not about selling things. This is about asking my awesome community about this new course. I want to put it in the hands of people that's very affordable, and just to really dig into this. Anthony says, how many hours of work do you put into the videos? I put a lot of hours and work into it. And Anthony, I've priced all my courses. I mean, you can go to my website and see it's different prices for different things. I have a 50 Days to Flying Fingers. It's my most favorite course ever, and that's because it's jazz, classical. It's turning your fingers into crazy good technique. Next Level Academy, yeah. So that's 2 PDFs, and then the Elite is 3 or more, however many we release. So, but yeah, so. There's always a lot of time that goes into the courses, and everything's really interactive. You know, you click on whatever and it takes you to the course, whatever example you're working on. So anyway, I'm excited about that. I'm going to take all your ideas and think about pricing on that. I just want to make sure it gets into everybody's hands. We're already doing these kind of things. Like the stuff that I did in this lesson today, you don't have to buy the course. It's this is the content. And there are, in this course specifically, there are, of course, major scales, there are chord formulas, and there are the chord diagrams, there are the chord blocks, all that. So Anthony would say $29.99. I might do that. I might do something like $27.99, and then for on the 4th, we could say I might even do $24.99, and then I might even do something like, if you order it tonight or tomorrow, I could be $19.99. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's not. I like this. I like the way y'all think, because this really helps me think about. I'm definitely a chord nut when it comes to like playing. I love chords and the simplicity and the beauty of these courses. I like the way. I like the way you think, Anthony. That's not a bad idea. So, what I could do is put the. So you guys know there's the course out there that is. I have one bundle, one thing for sale right now at the Academy, or sorry, at the YouTube channel, and that is my 4 blues volumes with the newest 16 sweet licks, right? And so if you get that whole bundle, it's $59 right now. So that's the 16 sweet licks, which is a very in-depth course on my 16 favorite licks from all 4 blues volumes. But then the others, I said, well, how can I do this to get all 5 volumes at a price that people can afford? And so I did $59.99, and people have been getting that. I had somebody get it yesterday, and it's still available right now. In fact, it was available, and then I took it down, and then so many people asked, can you bring it back? And I said, yes, I can do that. And I know that's not, people do that all the time, but those others, I said like $5 each. So I put the bundle together. It's 5 different volumes for $59.99, which I think it's a fantastic deal. Not just because I did, all these courses and everything. It's old content. The video's not great for the volumes. Volume 1, volume 2 gets a little better. 3 is pretty good. 4, but it's not as good as my newer content. And that's partly why I'm like, hey, spring cleaning kind of thing. But the content is fantastic. Like all these Oscar Peterson licks that we do, and all these, all these licks from iMusicAcademy. Or all of those licks are so good that I'm going to continue to sell them in some capacity. I'm really probably going to redo the courses pretty soon because I do believe in the content for sure. But anyway, so right now I have that thing. I could do 16 sweet licks and the new course on Friday, and I could pre-order it. You could do a bundle. You could get, like you guys said, like Anthony said, they could do whatever we decide, $27, $24.99, or $29.99, whatever. And then I could say you can have that 16 sweet licks as a bonus. That's a really good course. I like it a lot. What do you guys think about that? I'm gonna show you guys this really quickly here. So speaking of the newest course, this is how much I believe in this stuff. Okay, so like the newest course, you have 16 sweet licks, right? And what all of my courses do that. You just click on it, and it'll take you to wherever you are in the PDF. Okay, and you if you want to watch the video of the whole training, you just go click that. Like that's Oscar Peterson right there. Oscar Peterson-ish. And then you have all of these different licks that we know and we love. And you guys help vote on them. All these blues and jazz and even gospel kind of sounds. And listen to this long line. And everything is always, fingering is always written out. And anyway, somebody was asking about this one. You can go up and down. All right. Anyway. All right. So maybe that's a good thing. And Anthony helped figure that one out. All right. So if I were going to do that bundle and I do it as a pre-order, it may sell 0 of those, but we'll see what happens. What's the price? And then we're done. Somebody give me a realistic. If I'm doing a pre-order, the course comes out Friday, and you pre-order, what would be the pre-order price? And then we're out. Take yourself out of the equation, Vance. Hey, as we're wrapping up, let me just say goodbye to everyone. Thank you again for hanging out at a pop-up lesson. It was kind of cool to go through the Simply Beautiful Jazz voicings. Doug, good to see you. Doug was first on. Vance, good to see you. Vicky, good to see you. Jeffrey, always here at iMusicAcademy. Thank you guys for hanging out. And then George was able to stop by for a few minutes. George, so good to see you. Awesome. Anthony says $29.99 for the bundle. That's not a bad thing. Hold on a second. All right. Hey, goodbye, everyone. Go practice. Go practice these chord formulas, and then I'll probably will. I'll put a pre-order, and that you can get that. And then what I'll do is, based on Anthony's suggestion, what you'll do is you'll get the 16 sweet licks right away, immediately, and then the other course on Friday. All right, guys, have a great one. I'll see you in the next video. You have about 30 seconds to say goodbye to each other, and I'm either doing 27 or 29.99 for the bundle. And somebody be brave and give me their honest opinion on that. I want people to get this stuff.